This is an ABC News special report. Now reporting, David Muir.
Good morning on this Monday morning. We're coming on the air for opening bell on Wall Street and what is expected to be another brutal day of trading, perhaps. The stock markets in the U.S. and around the world obviously reacting to President Trump's tariff policy. Overnight futures signaling the Dow is facing roughly a 700-point loss, perhaps, in the opening minutes here on Wall Street. The Dow losing more than 2,000 points on Friday for just the fourth time in its history. That's after losing 1,700 points on Thursday. Close to about 4,000 points lost in just 2 days. You can see there on the opening bell down 1,200 points here. The Nasdaq and S&P 500 also looking at a tough day ahead. The Nasdaq entering a bear market officially on Friday after losses on Thursday and Friday of nearly 6% apiece. The S&P 500 dropping about 6% as well on Friday for its worst performance since the outbreak of the pandemic in March of 2020. It lost about 10% in 2 days. A lot of numbers to throw your way. But again, all eyes on the Dow here this morning. Markets in Asia and Europe already taking a nosedive. Hong Kong, South Korea, Japan, and China. European markets are down across the board, facing a 16th-month low. The London Stock Exchange has plunged to its lowest point in a year, seeing 5% wiped off its value. Let's put back up the numbers of the opening bell here on Wall Street just moments ago. The Dow opening up down 1,200 points, down about 3% on the opening bell. Let's get right to Whit Johnson on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. Whit, obviously investors anxious again on this Monday, beginning a new week, and worried we're going to see today what we saw on Thursday and Friday.
Absolutely, David. The activity really picking up here on the floor moments after we heard the opening bell. And I spoke to a trader just a short time ago, and he said, look, there is fear and loathing across the markets here. He even described this as sort of a mini crash right now because of the lack of clarity that they're getting from the Trump administration, the anxiety, the uncertainty about what's going to happen next. Again, we're looking at these numbers here. The Dow down almost 1,200 points right now. The Nasdaq about 620, and the S&P 500 about 176, of course, where millions of Americans have their 401ks, their retirement savings. And part of the problem here is the way the administration has been downplaying the impact of the tariffs and the impact of this sell-off. We saw President Trump just this morning on social media insisting that the tariffs are bringing in billions of dollars every week into the United States. But again, if you ask most economists, they are saying that it will ultimately be American consumers who pay those higher prices on everyday goods. And we're seeing the reaction here. And it's not just what happened last week or today. The expectation is it could be a very difficult week ahead.
All right, Whit Johnson on the floor of the Stock Exchange. Whit, we appreciate it. Let's get right to Rebecca Jarvis, our Chief Business and Economics Correspondent. And Rebecca, you heard Whit there say a lack of clarity driving a lot of the concern among investors. And of course, Americans watching this worried about higher prices at the grocery store, the auto lot, appliances. And for those lucky enough to have a 401k, worried about the losses they've seen already in their retirement savings.
Certainly, David. And just to put all of this in context, when you're looking at those losses there on your screen, if you go back for the last 2 years, even after these losses, today the S&P 500 is still, that's what's in most 401ks, it's still up almost 36%, given the outsized returns that we have seen over the last years. But I do want to talk about what we are seeing on our screen right now. The Dow now down more than 3%. The risks of a long and intense trade war are rising. We've heard now from President Trump what the U.S. plan is on tariffs, but we're also getting the retaliation now from China. And it's not just tariffs. They're starting to restrict things, David, like rare earth materials, things that go into our U.S. military, into building out our artillery, our technology sector. So it's a bigger impact than just costs and tariffs.
The numbers getting worse as we've been on the air after the opening bell. Rebecca, thanks to you as well, down 1,216 points, 1,211, as you can see, fluctuating in these opening moments of the bell. Let's get right to Rachel Scott. She's live at the White House. And Rachel, the president signaling this morning he again will stay the course, telling Americans not to panic, which is easier said than done for people who have watched their retirement savings shrink in just the last couple of days, and now it looks to be another very painful day on Wall Street here.
It does, David, and no sign that the White House is changing the strategy or that the president is shifting his policies. He's confident that this will be winning strategy from the president. In fact, just moments before the opening bell, he did post on social media saying, "Don't be weak, don't be stupid, don't be a panican," he said. He also says that countries from all over the world have been reaching out to the United States trying to make a deal. But his message to Americans, hang tough. He says this won't be easy, David.
Of course, Rachel, this comes after tens of thousands of Americans protested across the country to the economic policy and other decisions made so far by the Trump administration. And now we're seeing some investors on Wall Street, including a billionaire investor, a key supporter of Donald Trump, saying, stop with the tariffs. This is not what we voted for, essentially, was the message sent out in a plea over the weekend to try to prevent what we're seeing here this morning. Again, the Dow opening down 1,346 points. And we'll continue to monitor this throughout the day. Our coverage continues on ABC News Live, abcnews.com. And for many of you, Good Morning America continues. Your local news teams standing by as well. I'll be back with the entire team a little later today for World News Tonight. I'm David Muir in New York. We'll see you then. Have a good day.